Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Chapter 3 videos on creating histograms, stem and leaf plots, and dot plots. So we're going to jump right in here. Here's the number of wins of baseball teams from 2019. I tweaked a couple of the numbers, literally just two of them, so that things turned out the way that I'm looking for, so you guys can see when certain things happen. So step one, we're going to create a histogram, which is not exactly a bar graph, but similar to. So we need to figure out how many bars we want. I'm going to refer to those as bins. So the number of bins. So for this example, I'm going to use 5. You don't want too few, you don't want too many. Okay. Somewhere around 5, 6, 7, 8 is a good number. All right, I'll tell you on a test or quiz or if I assign a problem. And then we then have to just determine the interval of each bin. How wide, what range of values are you going to use? So for the interval, the way that you calculate the interval is you take the maximum number in your data list minus the minimum number, and you divide that by the number of bins. Got ahead of myself. So maximum value in this case is 108. Smallest value, I believe, was the 46. Number of bins, we decided on 5. So that's going to be 62 divided by 5, which is 12.4. Okay, so when we go to set up our intervals now, we don't want to mess with decimals. If you round down to 12 when you create your intervals, you will either need to add a 6th bin, we only want 5, or you won't fit some of your larger values. So what you always do is if you have a decimal, when you go to calculate your interval, if you have a decimal, you always round up. I don't care if it's 12.0001. If it's not exactly 12, you're going to round up. So we're going to make these 13. All right. So the way that I'm going to set up is I'm going to have a lower limit and an upper limit. Okay. All right, so for your lower limit, you're going to start with the smallest value. And again, our smallest value was 46. Now what you want to do is you want to take this interval and you're going to add it to 46. The mistake students make is they add 46 plus 13 and want to put that number here. But that number 46 plus 13 is going to go here. So 46 plus 13 is 59. 59 plus 13. 72 plus 13. 85 plus 13. Okay? So that's going to be the lower limit for all of our bins. Okay? So your upper limits, pretty simple. If the second bin starts at 59, well, where do you think the upper limit for the other one is going to end? So one less than that, right? 58. This one starts at 72. That means the next one must have gone from 59 to 71. Now from this point, you can continue with that. Okay, so the next one starts at 85. So this one had to have ended at 84, or you can now start adding 13 as you go down. 58 plus 13, 71 plus 13, 84 plus 13, and this is especially helpful when you get to this last one, 97 plus 13. Okay. Now notice our biggest number, 108, falls in this category. If we had rounded this down to 12, this number would be smaller than 108, and we wouldn't have anywhere to put 108. So now we do our frequencies. And I'm just going to go through one at a time. 103 belongs here. 103 falls here. Next one's 96. 96 falls here. 84 is the next one. Falls here. 67 falls here. All right, so I paused the recording on my end and I went ahead and completed these. And now hopefully when we're done, we wind up having 30 because there were 30 originally. And so now as I went through and I tabulated, each time I saw like 54, I made a tick mark here. 101, I made a tick mark here. I went all the way through and did that. So I wound up with 3 in this category, 6, 8, 9, 4. Let's see, that's 9, 9 to 8 is 17, 17 to 9, 26, 30. Good. So that totals 30. So I am good there. And so the next step is going to be to create the actual histogram. All right, so I paused this video to go and create the next screen. So I rewrote all the information that we had right here. We got the lower limit, upper limit frequencies. I just recopied that. And now I wanted to create my graph. And the way that I created my X scale is I used all my lower limit numbers. So 46, 59, 72, 85, 98. And I needed one more so I could close this box you'll see at the end. So I had to add 13 to that. You don't want to put 110 because the next one, if we had one, would start at 111. So we go 111. Now we're going to use our frequencies. My biggest frequency was 9. So I decided to count by 2 to get to 10. That'll make sure 9 fits. You could have counted by 1s if you wanted to. There's no right or wrong answer for this. So my first bin, 46 to 58, held 3. So my first bar is going to go up to 3. Now, ideally, all of your bins are going to be the same width. I'm doing this by hand. All right, doing the best I can here, but all the bins should be the same width. All these intervals should be the same width. Next bin goes up to 6. So from here, need to continue to 6. Okay. The 72 to 85, 72 to 84 should go up to 8. So from here. The next bin goes up to 9. And then you got a big drop off down to 4. And sometimes you'll see where people will put the numbers above it or inside the bin. So maybe someone will put a 3 and a 6 and a so on to make it easier to read. Probably want to label here. This represents number of wins. And this, I'm just going to put over here F for frequency. Okay, So this is the frequency right here. So that is how you make a histogram, and you're going to be practicing creating and, most importantly, interpreting them. We could have changed all these to percentages. So like 3 wins in this category out of, remember, there were 30. So we could do 3 divided by 30. We could change that to a percent, 10%. And then we could have created this, the Y scale, instead of counting by numbers of wins, I could have set that up in terms of percentages.